The wind was cold that morning, brushing gently against the worn pages of a sketchbook lying open on a small street corner. A frail girl sat beside it, her head wrapped in a faded scarf, her hands trembling as she held up a painting of a sunset. Her voice, though soft, carried a heartbreaking plea. "Original art for sale, please, help me continue my treatment." Her name was Lily Carter, only 19, yet her eyes held the exhaustion of someone who had fought too many silent battles. She had been diagnosed with leukemia 6 months earlier, and with her mother gone and no father in her life, she depended on selling her artwork to afford her chemotherapy sessions. Each brushstroke was a cry for survival, each painting, a prayer for one more tomorrow. People passed by, glancing with pity but rarely stopping. The world moved too fast for those who suffered in silence. Across the street, Ethan Miller, a 32-year-old single dad, was walking his 7-year-old son, Ben, to school. Ethan had seen struggles too. After losing his wife in a car accident, he had spent years trying to rebuild a life for his son while working 2 jobs. Life had taught him that pain doesn't always announce itself, sometimes it just sits quietly, holding a paintbrush. As Ben tugged on his hand and pointed, Ethan noticed Lily. Her face was pale, her lips dry, but her paintings were breathtaking, vivid skies, blooming fields, and portraits filled with hope. It didn't make sense that someone battling death could still paint life so beautifully. He walked closer. "Hey," he said gently. "These are incredible. Did you paint all these?" Lily smiled weakly, brushing hair from her face. "Yes, sir. I paint between treatments. It helps me forget the pain. I'm trying to save enough for my next chemo session." Ethan's throat tightened. He saw the courage in her eyes, the same courage his late wife had when she was sick. He bought one painting. Then another. Then another. When Lily tried to stop him, he smiled softly. "You don't get to argue with a dad who knows what it means to fight for someone you love." He handed her an envelope quietly before walking away with his son. When Lily opened it, her trembling fingers froze. Inside was a check enough to pay for her full round of chemotherapy. Tears streamed down her cheeks as she whispered, "Why would he do this for me?" A week later, she found out. She had searched the name Ethan Miller and discovered that he worked as a mechanic in a small garage across town. She went there to return his money, but Ethan refused. "I didn't do it for thanks," he said. "You remind me of someone I loved. She didn't make it, but if I can help you keep fighting, that's enough for me." Lily insisted on repaying him in her own way. Every weekend, she started visiting the garage, bringing her sketchbook and painting scenes of the place, Ethan fixing cars, Ben playing in the corner. Ben adored her. He'd sit beside her, covered in paint, saying, "Miss Lily, when I grow up, I'll make enough money so you never have to sell your art again." For the first time in years, Lily laughed without pain. But the journey wasn't easy. Her health began to worsen before the final round of treatment. Some days she couldn't even lift her brush. Ethan stayed by her side through it all, driving her to appointments, making sure she ate, and sometimes just sitting in silence as she sketched with trembling hands. When she wanted to give up, Ethan would look her in the eye and say, "You paint hope, Lily. Don't stop living what you paint." And she didn't. Months later, after her last chemo session, the doctors gave her the news: her cancer was in remission. She was weak, but alive. Alive because someone had cared enough to do the unthinkable. She threw herself into her art, creating a special painting, a man holding a child's hand, walking toward a sunrise. She titled it "The Stranger Who Gave Me Tomorrow." On the day of her first art exhibition, she stood beside that painting as tears filled her eyes. The crowd applauded as Ethan and Ben walked in, both dressed neatly. "This is your work?" a gallery owner asked. Lily smiled proudly. "It's more than my work. It's my story. Because sometimes, one act of kindness can save not just a life, but a soul." Ethan walked up, his eyes glistening. "I didn't just help you, Lily. You helped me remember what hope feels like." Years later, Lily became a successful painter, her art spreading messages of love and resilience around the world. She continued to fund treatment for young cancer patients, each donation signed anonymously, from a girl who was once helped by a stranger. And every weekend, she still visited Ethan and Ben, her little found family who reminded her that the world, despite its pain, still had good people.